Hello, Ben. I wanted to show you the Turbo Cube with 3Dimension boards, and I am finally ready to ship. It is my masterpiece. Okay, so basically I've got you set up to log into OpenStep, and I determined the easiest way to do that was to put one of the micro SD cards in an external case. In this case, it's OpenStep. So it boots on SCSI ID 0. And you'll hear the CD-ROM spinning up. So I've got the CD-ROM working and the floppy working. So we've got 3Dimension boards. The one on the left has a mark on it. That's 32 meg because it's a low profile RAM. And then this dimension board 64 meg. And this is actually a PAL dimension board on this side. So you got two NTSC and one PAL board. I thought you'd like that. And we've got the little SD in there, and if you need to work on it, you can just simply lift it up. I've just got it Velcroed in on a mounting bracket and just kind of pull it this way, and that'll allow you to pop the SD card out if you should need to do that. For instance, you may want to make a DD backup. So we've got our 4 screens going here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out. Okay, so we just click log out. Just take it a second here. I got you loaded up with all kinds of apps. This is the first Turbo Cube I've done with 3Dimension boards. I've had several that I've done with 2, but this is the first one with 3. And I think I mentioned that all of the boards have new capacitors on them. I'm just going to talk here while it logs out. So we've got a lot going on. Remember, this is 1992 technology, so it runs a little bit slower than your modern stuff. I'm going to go ahead and click it again. Let's see if it'll log out for me here. There we go. And so we're going to go ahead and turn it off. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and boot up NeXT 3.3, and I'll show you how to do that here. It's pretty easy. All we're going to do is disconnect our OpenStep 4.2 from the SCSI port. I figured that'd be the easiest way to do it, and it's kind of nice having OpenStep 4.2 separated from NeXT 3.3. So now it should power off here in a second. I think it's just we've got so much stuff on here. It's going to take it a minute to figure it all out, because it's having to load all these dimension board drivers and everything. So, as I say, I've got you loaded up with hundreds of applications as well. So you can actually boot it up, run as a Macintosh. If you click the Daydream app, it'll actually boot up as dark matter. So you can run up to System 7.1. I've got Executor apps, so you can run a lot of the old Apple Mac apps, including, I think, up to Word 5.0. We've got Lotus Improv, WordPerfect, Mathematica, and Virtuoso. We've got Adobe Illustrator. So you just heard the floppy drive eject as well as the CD-ROM drive. And we should have a power down here any second. There we go. So you may just have to hit the power key a couple times. So we just unplug this. That's the SCSI 2 cable. Now you hit the power key again. Oh, I've got you a really nice cream key switch small return key keyboard. It's in pristine condition. All the keys work in a really nice NeXT mouse. And this is what the SCSI SD card looks like. So you can actually just press it to eject here. So you would basically just pull the center section out, flip it, press to eject, and then you can take the card over to, say, if you've got a Mac, and then just run terminal application, and then just run DD in the terminal app, where you make a basically an ISO image. And the cards are really fast, so on a modern Mac, it only takes about 3 to 5 minutes to make a 16 gig backup, which is really nice. On NeXT, it would take weeks to do, just with all the floppies and CDs and, you know, doing all the install packages. So it's really nice, and I've done all the hard work for you. So it's basically a turnkey system. Now what we're doing here is we're loading up NeXT Step 3.3, and it does take a while because, as I say, we've got 4 monitors. This is your Sony 4000A monitor. It's in excellent condition. Now that flicker you see how it's not on a flat panel, but it's just on our CRTs, like the Hitachi 21s. That's actually the difference between the refresh rate in the camera versus the monitor. So there's actually no flicker in these monitors. And I don't know if you're interested in purchasing these 2 Hitachi 21s, but they are available for sale. Anybody out there? I like the Dell flat panels. We've got a solution that works with them. Ben, I'm sending all the cables, and then I'll have the 13W3 to VGA connectors so you can hook up your flat panels. Now here we see it says NeXT Step, because we've got NeXT Step 3.3. So we just log in, and everything should come up just fine. And I'll launch a little application here to make sure it's all working. The sound and everything here. So this is our little Halloween app with the dancing skeletons. Okay. So they only had this app, they only ported it over to 1Dimension board and part of one. But all the other apps you can drag and drop between the screens. Let me turn that down just a bit. We're getting blown out by the Funky Bunch. So you get retro tunes. But it sounds pretty good. So everything is working and ready to go. I really appreciate your business and patience on this. And I needed every minute of it just to come up with... this is a much better solution to having an external box for 4.2. I found that having 2 internal SD cards, I tried to say boot from the command line and tell it to boot from SCSI ID 4, and it just didn't like that. So this is a much better solution. I've got it set to SCSI ID 0, and then the internal drive set to SCSI ID 1, and it does work. So I got you loaded up with, as I say, tons of apps. There are different apps under both OpenStep and NeXT Step. I was having a lot of fun with it. So really appreciate your business patience. I'll get you the tracking numbers, and should be there in the next couple days. Have a good day. This board, Turbo Cube with 3Dimension boards. All new caps, new old stock power supply, new old stock floppy, DVD, CD, SD 5.1 cards, and they're on Extreme Pro, and I've got it loaded to dual boot with 3.3 and 4.2. So if anybody out there is interested in purchasing NeXT hardware, it's what I do. Have a good day now.